Almost 70 years since his death, Congress recently passed an anti-lynching bill in honor of the late Emmett Till, the 14-year-old Chicago native who was brutally murdered after a white woman, Carol Bryant Donovan, falsely accused him of whistling at her and touching her in a Mississippi store. The bill for the first time would make lynching a federal hate crime in the U.S.
And so for me, this bill is a part of Mamie Till, his mother, and his legacy around civil rights, around, trying to root out and call to the carpet hate crimes and racism, and that we don't want to continue in a society that tolerates that.
After a century and 200 attempts to outlaw lynching, supporters of the bill say it's still necessary to put an end to hate crimes.
With the increased racial polarization and the heightened white supremacy and particularly things that people were more outrightly violent towards people of color, particularly during the years of the Trump administration. No, I definitely think it should be enacted now.
So I definitely do think that this should have been put into place a long, long time ago. And I think it's a little sad that we have to redirect people's attention to the issue too. So I feel on the fence about it, but at the same time, if it's possible, let's do it. So be it.
More than 4,000 lynchings of Black people were reported between 1877 and 1950. Illinois Democratic Congressman Bobby Rush, sponsor of the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, said that lynching is just covered in a different camouflage now, and that the rope has been replaced with a shotgun and semi-automatic weapons. Others say different types of hate crimes are still being committed.
The term lynching may seem antiquated and old, but the act of a hate crime against someone based on their race is still very relevant, still very prevalent, and it still goes on.
We can extend it to all of them, from the microaggressions to violence against particularly Black people, but also other people of color and immigrants. I think these are all a form of lynching where individuals as a group decide that they can kill someone because of their race or their religion. It is still there. We just don't use the word because we like to think of it as something that has happened.
Till's family never stopped pushing to get this bill passed and to keep his memory alive while still highlighting the horrors of his death.
Living in Chicago, I drive past 71st Street every day. That is the street that is dedicated to Emmett Till. His family members are still alive. The accuser is still alive. So these things are not in a very distant past, even though we want to think about it as such.
Behind me sits the former home of Emmett Till, which officially became a historic Chicago landmark last year and is currently owned by an organization in this neighborhood called Blacks and Greens. This home will hopefully serve as a permanent reminder of the tragedies of the past and the attempts to prevent similar tragedies from happening in the future. For Good Day to Paul, I'm Lenita Brooks.